Hey,
Yeah,
Joy, what did we work out with Michael's Graham?
we're in the middle of it, Robert. I brought it to the group and I've gotten some good insight so far. So I'll give you the recap. The listing that I have has been on the market for 40 days, hasn't gotten an offer. My seller's in commercial real estate line believes that we can do the auction successfully. And so now we're just trying to combat the couple of things that are deterrents, which is the solar debt of 50,000 that needs to be taken on, and then it's on a busy street. And so we're just talking about how do we make that successful. I did take it temporarily off the market. I didn't cancel it completely because the days on market will not reset anyway. And when we bring it back to market, the pitch to the public will just be, you know, the seller has to sell in the next couple weeks, and that's why we've dropped the price. We're selling it to the best offer that we get. That's why we're having this event. We're
So
on the
what's your resolution for taking care of the solar?
I liked your idea of making the buyer's premium either 6% or 7% and doing either all of that or half of that to pay off half the solar and then using the other portion for their buyer broker. And if there's no buyer broker, then the whole thing goes to pay off, the majority of that solar. I think that would be very attractive. And then the seller's willing to pay my portion of the commission, which I'll end up charging him either 3% or 2.5%. I took his listing as a friend and a partner at 1%, just doing a traditional listing. And, and it obviously we haven't gotten anything. So I've already told him, I said, hey, if I run an event and do all this, I'm going to charge you a full commission. And he's fine to pay that.
So does everybody understand that the power of the buyer's premium? 100% negotiable anytime through the transaction, right? When you've got something that's outdated, outpriced, out this and that, the beauty of the buyer's premium is what? That they can actually take that amount, plug it into their, the price of the home and not have to have separate contracts. The other thing on this that Michael had said that even if he can get the buyer to cover half, this guy would cover half. So nobody's got to come up with cash out of the pocket if we do this the right way, right?
Hmm.
We just use it for the proceeds and pay it off. Now, a buyer may say, you know what, no big deal, no harm, no foul. I don't want to put that into my mortgage. I'll just pay it off. He may say, you know what, let's take this thing up a notch. Let me run on both sides of it, have the seller give back half his commission so I can finish doing some work on the house. All these things with buyer's premium, you've got to start thinking and compartmentalizing because
So
all of this stuff can happen anytime, anywhere, anything. And especially as you guys start dealing with investors, it's wonderful to have a protection mechanism for them. It's wonderful to have where we can negotiate anything that we want by using the buyer's premium. Okay. So we got to keep that first and foremost. So yeah, and if you need help with that, Michael, the one thing, did you warn your seller about getting 5,000 calls from because you took it temporarily off market? Every agent in the world's going to be calling them.
I don't think he'll get calls because I took it off temporarily off market. Our setting is great because it's still my listing, right? Nobody's going to give it.
Okay.
So
God, well,
temporarily off market, still my listing. When it goes back on, it'll be, the same amount of days on market, all that kind of stuff. It'll just be, us shocking the system, which I'm thinking, you know, 20% below what I think fair market value is, which it's at 739. Fair market value's got to be under 700, maybe 675. If I take 675 times 20%, it's about 130 some odd thousand. So I'm thinking of bringing it to either 575 or 550.
okay.
Can I go too
Uh,
low? Is there a
well, you just want to make sure that you get. I would keep it higher than lower because of the buyer's premium. But you got to make sure you get the buyers in there, so at least you can talk to people about how to, is right now is the biggest objection the street or the solar? Are they both
I think
equal?
it's I think it's the street, but because that's the first thing that you notice on the property, right? But then once you dive into it, like, oh, this could be a property for me, then you find out that it's got $50,000 worth of solar debt. Then you have to wrap your mind around how much value that has for you as a buyer. And you know, some of them may think it has a value, some of them don't. I think if you pay half of that off, it's going to be a good value because it's at a
Yeah,
2.9% interest rate and it's fully assumable and it does bring the energy bill down. So, you know, I think we're in
well,
the right direction on doing the split, fee between the buyer premium and the seller paying the listing commission.
very good. Sounds like everybody did a good job.